ghosts. What did we set it at? 140 and 400. Publish. What do we got? First man in the moon. Here's the bullshit. Alright, get this shit going.
Again. Who could be jamming to those signals? Oh, well, maybe later tonight, or if only I could send back. Let the poor devil know that someone here on Earth hears him. A minute, please. I'll adjust this astro scanner. Then if the messages start again, I'll hear it. Just a minute, please. You must be my anxiously awaited Mr. Belford.
Yes. Professor Wendergy?
Yeah, please come in, Mr. Belford. And thank goodness you're here. Please, your coat and hat, I'll hang them up.
Thank you, sir.
Now, over here, please. This chair, you will find it comfortable.
Thank you, Professor.
Yeah. Thank goodness you are here. These messages are coming in lately sounding, well, they sound anxious.
Sorry, Professor. Very bad storm in the channel. It took 3 full days just from London here to Rotterdam.
3 days? Well, Mr. Bedford, men like yourself, a man has traveled to the moon and back at the speed of 12,000 feet per second. I should think that 3 days at sea nearly from London to Rotterdam would be a bore. Is that true? You must pardon my English. I only speak in 2 years.
You speak it well, Professor.
Well, Mr. Bedford, I must say that the messages from Dr. Cavour have been giving me more than a little practice in translating English.
It is Cavour, your father.
Mr. Bedford, my telegram did not state explicitly the fact that it is Cavour, simply because I did not want to spread the word. The newspapers have already given you too much silly publicity in this matter. But I assure you, is down. The messages I receive nightly from the moon have always been signed by Dr. Cavour. But I have never known how to find you. Not until your articles about your trip to the moon with Cavour began to appear in that English magazine.
And you, Professor, are one of the few people who believe those articles to be true. Most people have laughed at them as being fanciful fiction, highly imaginative.
But indeed, Mr. In my case, the fun is that I have already heard much of the story that you wrote, and heard it from Dr. Kapoor himself in code messages from the moon. But on this equipment over here, yeah, I need your help. I have had many messages from Kapoor and the moon in the last 2 years, but it took me a long time to break Kapoor's code. He must not know the standard Morse code. He had to invent one of his own. It took me a while to get onto that fact, and even longer to find that the code translated into English. Even now, I do know there are still many poor stretches to my translations. But now I shall have your help, the help of a man who was actually with Dr. Kapoor in the moon. A man who also so many of the things he describes.
Yes. Thank God we did find each other, Professor. But now, how does this equipment work? It looks extraordinary.
Yeah, in some ways it is extraordinary by the standards of today. That steady repeated sound you hear is the electrical astroscanner. Oh, the poor man doesn't know whether or not his messages are being picked up here on Earth at all. The scanner keeps changing direction constantly. If the road changes its wavelength, it tracks it.
Remarkable. So advanced.
Mr. Bedford, not quite as remarkable as you think. My equipment consists mainly of the standard devices for sending signals between continents. Added are certain of the new devices invented by Marconi, which make possible sending and reception without wires. A wireless sending and reception. But here, this is my special secret here. This electrical booster. It adds the extra energy capacity that makes it possible for my equipment to receive signals from as far away as the moon. Unfortunately, I have not yet been able to build a generator large enough to send messages that far. And that is the chief reason why the Dutch government has not yet recognized my work openly and officially.
But haven't you demonstrated with Kapoor's messages?
Demonstrated? Yes, Mr. Bedford. There are some of the government ministers who do believe me. But there are many others who think these messages are an elaborate, how do you say, hoax. That is why I've been requested to keep news of Kapoor's messages a secret. A request with which I complied reluctantly. A small country like Holland does not like to run the risk of being embarrassed before the world by the possible tricks of, well, the phrase has been used once or twice, of a mad scientist.
Oh, you don't have to tell me about that, Professor. Small country or large, even in a large country like mine, the government is wary of releasing any sort of official word about a man who says that he has traveled to the moon, in fact. For over 3 years, I agreed to keep silent. At last, I couldn't take it any longer. I decided to publish my story in that magazine.
Well, you have someone in me who knows you are telling the truth. And unless you are an electrical wizard who also has picked up the messages.
I assure you, Professor, I don't know the first thing about the principles of telegraphy, let alone wireless telegraphy. In fact, the only name in the field that I do know, other than yours, is that of Marconi.
Oh, you flatter me that you then know mine, my boy. I have not attracted as much attention as Marconi. I'm afraid that Marconi is a scientist quite rightly destined always to be more famous than I. He applies his great discoveries to the making of practical things. I use mine to dream, to delve into things that are more properly to be discovered and used in the far future. There are some people who say that I am 20 even 50 years ahead of others in my field of electrical research. Ah, yes, but so few of my most learned colleagues have believed that I could receive messages from the moon. However, I do, and that is a fact.
Professor, when will the next message come from Cavour?
To his luck, in about an hour. He was on the beam to me just before you arrived, but then the jamming began again.
Jamming?
Yeah. Oh, interruptions. Strange interruptions. Not interruptions between the moon and the earth. They seem to happen there, on the moon. And lately, Cavour's messages have seemed so careless, so harried, and then worried.
Worried?
Someone, something there is trying to interrupt his transmissions. And he knows it. The fact he does is reflected in his manner of sending.
Do you think he's in danger?
Perhaps. I must confess that I think he is. But Mr. Bedford, please let us sit down over there once more where it is comfortable. Before the next message comes in, I'd like to hear an account of your trip to the moon from your own lips.
Well, by this time, I've told it so often, the story probably will be almost abbreviated in detail. But at least I'll be telling it this time to someone who believes me.
Oh, may I offer you a cigar? Brandy before you begin?
No, no, thank you. Just one of my cigarettes. Here we go. The story starts properly 4 years ago in the summer of 1899. I had taken a house in the country so that I could work in peace on my third novel. My next-door neighbor, I was told, was a scientist named Cavour. We were both busy men. Our paths never crossed. Months went by without my meeting. Then one night, a fine fall evening, October 14, 1899, I was walking in my garden. Suddenly the air was torn by a great explosion. It was Cavour's house. The chimneys jerked toward the sky. The shingles of the roof followed, sailing up and up. And then the roof was torn away. And then the furniture, everything in the house was blown into the sky. The trees crashed around wildly, dashing to pieces with the force of the explosive impact. Then there was a roar like a clap of thunder, and the windows of my house were shattered by the force. And then, Professor Wendigee, all was deathly stillness. I had been knocked to the ground and pelted by the debris from the explosion. I picked myself up. My first thought was that man, Cavour? Had he been killed? I raced toward the spot where his house had been. For several minutes, I beat the bushes and picked in the wreckage. And then I heard his groaning.
Here, whoever you are.
Are you hurt badly?
Some, but I'm not bleeding badly. I'm just knocked out by the force. Fine. In fact, young man, you can congratulate me.
Congratulate you. In heaven's name, what for?
I've done it.
You. But what on earth caused that explosion?
That was not an explosion at all.
Really? Well, what would you call it? Your house is gone. Mine over there is badly battered. And I'll bet there isn't a window in the neighborhood which hasn't been shattered.
Well, call it an explosion if you like. You see, it was from a gas which I have discovered and with which I'm experimenting. The explosion resulted from a slight miscalculation of mine. That was no explosion as such, no, Mr.
Now, Bedford, I'm your neighbor over there.
Thank you, Bedford. Maybe stroll that way. I'm afraid with my house gone, I might have to depend on your hospitality tonight.
Certainly, Dr. Cavour, is it? come along. We'll have to clean ourselves up. There's a path here. Follow me, Doctor, and watch those fallen branches. I still don't understand what you mean about that explosion.
My house did not explode. It just degravitated.
Degravitated?
Yes, some of my new gas, I call it gavorite, escaped unnoticed in my laboratory. Gavorite renders objects weightless. It negates the normal pulling force of the Earth's gravity. Any object exposed to it, except the body of a human being or animal, will just rise into the air. Rise, that is, when the object becomes coated with the gas. Unless the object is held back by restraint, it will sail right off into space. My house, you see, filled up with the gas, filled up with it until the house just burst and sailed off.
Well, you're lucky that you weren't killed, or that you didn't sail off into space yourself.
But I remind you, gavorite has no effect on human beings as such.
Well, here we are at my house, Dr. Cavour.
It is a pretty messed up affair, isn't it? Those windows. My gavorite can be powerful, can't it? I'm sorry, Bedford.
Nothing to be done about it now. Come on in.
Thank you, Miss Bedford. I'll explain more as we clean up.
And that, Professor Wendigee, was how we met, Cavour and I.
A strange meeting, to be sure. But when did you begin to help Cavour build your space sphere? The sphere you used to travel to the moon?
Almost at once. I was so fascinated with the whole idea. It was the next morning that he told me of his plan to fly into outer space. To fly to the moon itself.
Think, Bedford, of a hollow sphere made of a crystal pure, heavy, unbreakable glass. Here, I'll make you a diagram. Now, inside of the sphere, living quarters, a space for the storage of supplies, and plenty of room for 2 men. The sphere is coated with my gas, the gavorite, but we are inside the sphere when the gas coats it. Yes, we treat the sphere with the gas from inside it. And then our sphere soars off into space.
Into space? Space? But where?
The moon, Bedford. Our nearest heavenly neighbor of any real size.
Moon?
It could be any object there in space with gravitational pull, a planet, an asteroid. But let's start with the moon. Now, this is how it would work. We must have a way of controlling the force of the gavorite. Thus, our glass sphere will be completely covered by heavy metal plates. Between those plates and our glass hull will be a thin, hollow space. The gavorite will be released into this space, this hollow. The metal plates will operate on a shutter principle, a little like the shades that we can open and shut as we choose. Anytime we open one of our metal shutters, slide it back, we release the power of the gavorite, which coats the glass beneath the metal, and the gavorite will carry our sphere off from the Earth. We shall be pulled, attracted toward any object in space toward which we aim, attracted by its gravity, since we have canceled out the gravity of the Earth with the gavorite.
But wouldn't we crash into that object?
No. We shall also operate our metal shutters at will from inside our space sphere. Anytime we open one of them or close one of them, we will change course. Open this one, we pull right. Close it, and of the sphere which we have exposed to its gravitational pull. And by working the shutters subtly, we can not only navigate, but also slow the sphere as needed. We can maneuver it, stop it, slow it, and land safely on any object in space that we choose.
Amazing. But Dr. Cavour, you speak of we.
Bedford, I have watched your expression. Your eyes follow my every word. You're excited by the power and possibilities of my Cavorite. You've seen what happened to my house. You are excited by my vision. Vision? No, you are excited by my plan to fly to the moon.
I must admit, no idea has ever excited me more.
Bedford, will you join me as my assistant? I have kept all of this secret until now, but I have long needed the help of another.
But Dr. Cavour, say we do reach the moon. Can we return to the Earth? And the danger.
Danger? There will be danger, make no mistake about that. But that danger will probably be encountered there on the moon itself. To return, we merely expose our gas-coated panels and negate the gravity of the moon. Then we aim and navigate toward the Earth. Now, again I ask you, will you join me in this great exploit?
But I'm not a scientist, not even a workman.
Workmen? Why, we'll hire workers to construct our sphere, according to my plans. They'll never know what it's for. No, you and I are needed only to mix a new and better supply of Cavorite. Under my direction, you'll work out. Agreed, then?
Oh, I must be mad, but Cavour, I'll join you.
Wonderful. Let's get to work at once, then, my boy. Not waste an hour.
I tell you, Professor Wendigee, Cavour and I worked like fiends.
How long did the construction take in all?
Almost exactly a year. We had a large crew of workmen, of course. And as Cavour had predicted, they merely thought us a pair of eccentric gentlemen building a strange, ugly house of glass and metal. They especially thought the powerful motors needed to work the shutters an odd assignment. Needless to say, other people thought it a little too modern for a house design, even if the year was 1900, and the brave new 20th century had just dawned. And then there came that night, October 1st, 1900. We were ready. The sphere had been filled with supplies and food. A full moon was sailing high in the heavens. Cavour and I climbed into our ship, our space sphere, and we were ready.
Ready, Bedford? The great exploit begins.
Yes, Cavour, ready, I suppose.
Nervous? Calm yourself, Bedford. I've figured to the last detail. The only danger is not in acceleration, but there after we've landed on the moon.
Our speed. Do you still think it will be that our sphere will hit a speed of somewhere between 11,000 and 13,000 feet per second?
Yes, or to put it more accurately, about 135 miles per minute, 8,100 miles per hour. The moon is exactly 238,900 miles away from us, from Earth, tonight. If we could travel at full speed directly to the moon, I estimate the journey would take 29 hours or so, give or take a bit.
But of course we'll lose time navigating, braking for landing.
Right, but possibly not as much as you think. We'll have to get onto the trick of working the shutters properly, but with luck, Bedford will probably be on the moon within 48 hours. Ready then? Remember, we shall probably experience a period in space out there where everything in the sphere is weightless, ourselves included.
Yes, the supplies are all lashed down securely.
Good. Now remember, if, once we have left the Earth behind, we begin floating around in this cabin, it's perfectly natural. We will be weightless. We shall get to our shutter control by paddling through the degravitated air. A little like we were swimming. When we wish to rest, we shall strap ourselves onto our couches.
Right.
We're ready, Bedford. I'll handle these dials which control the shutters. You take that panel controlling the release of the Cavorite. Now, release the first tube of gas. Switch on. Now, 10 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Open the shutter. We're off. We're aimed for the moon.
Cavor, it's not too late. Let's cut it off. Let's...
Bedford, you idiot. Call it off. Nearly a minute has gone by. Look, there. That meter which records our mileage. We're already 150 miles from the Earth. We're in space.
But I didn't feel a thing in the liftoff.
No, Bedford. The Cavorite lifted us swiftly and smoothly into the empty gulf of space. Our journey begins.
Yes, Cavor. But this doesn't seem the beginning of a journey. It seems more the beginning of a dream.
Look, Bedford. The mountains of the moon looming larger and larger ahead. We're nearly there. Just moments now.
Those huge mountains. And Cavor, look at the depth of those craters. Like the pits of huge extinct volcanoes.
Secure yourself, Bedford. I'll close the last shutter. From this point, we're near enough. The gravity of the moon will now pull our sphere to it, even without the use of our Cavorite. And the pull will be gentle enough that we will just land, not crash. Ready? Shutter closed. 6 seconds now, Bedford, and we'll be on the moon. Hold on. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
They on the moon.
Unlash yourself. You're nearest to that switch. Open that porthole, which is not coated with the Cavorite.
Cavor, it's extraordinary. The landscape, so barren, so desolate, like a great desert.
Yes. And the lunar day is just beginning to dawn. Look at the horizon brighten.
Look, something is popping out of the ground. It looks like a plant. And there, another, and another, all over now.
Amazing. And here, Bedford, watch the gauge of the thermometer attached to the outside surface of the sphere. Look how rapidly it's rising. When we landed, the temperature outside was at least 100 degrees below zero. Now it's soaring to 80 above.
Those are plants out there, Cavor. Look at them grow.
Yes, the lunar day must be so short, and the extremes of the moon temperature so sharp. The plants here must grow a full life cycle within a day. An hour of day here must be at least the equivalent in growing time of a month on Earth. Bedford, those plants which are literally growing tall before our eyes, you realize what they mean? There is air outside. Oxygen which we can breathe.
You mean we can go out there?
Yes, Bedford. Here, I'll release the switch to open the exit hatch. Be careful outside. The gravity of the moon is weaker than that of the Earth. We'll probably bounce high into the air with each step we take. We'll require careful practice, our walking, if we don't wish to dash ourselves to pieces on the rocks. Ready now?
Right.
Down we go then. There. The first human foot to touch the surface. Watch it now. One step. Ah!
Cavor, you're sailing through.
Here, Bedford. Over here. Watch it. Watch it when you step. I sailed at least 30 feet with one step. Careful.
Right. Cavor, It's like bouncing off rubber.
Here, work your way here. Crawl. Good, Bedford. You're almost in control. Almost in control already. We bounce that way because our bodies are so much lighter here on the surface of the moon than they were on Earth. The weak gravity here.
Cavour, look, the plants around us are already tall as trees.
Yes, they're twisted and grotesque like no plants I've ever seen on Earth. They must be. Wait, this is no world for men. The temperature extremes. If we were out here on the moon's surface after the sunset, we should freeze to death. And the oxygen is so thin. You don't feel it yet, but too many days in this air, your lungs will be burnt to a crisp.
Cavour, where exactly is the sphere? The plants are so high, it's covered by the foliage. Was it there? No, that way?
Hard to say, Bedford. But it can't be far. We haven't come far. Listen.
There. They're coming this way.
Bedford, there. Look up at that ridge of rock above those tallest plants. Those huge animals.
Cavour, they look like gigantic bulls and cows. Like
Cattle, 18 feet high. And this here where we stand must be their pasture. They're headed this way.
And there, what is that? That creature.
It must be a man. A man of the moon. Oh, he's definitely herding those huge cattle with that spear of his. Wait, there's another. Small, a finely tool. Compact body. His body made in sections, a little like an insect, like an ant. A shining cylindrical body. Tentacles at the ends of the things that look like arms.
And those dark goggles.
They must keep out the glare of the sun. These moon men must live beneath the surface of the moon.
They're closer now. We might be trampled or seen.
Here, careful. Behind these boulders.
It's too late, Cavour. That one there saw us. Listen, he's signaling to the others.
That strange, high-pitched sound. It must be their voices.
Cavour, they're coming for us. They're fast. Watch it.
Yes, I think so. How long was I unconscious?
I don't know. I've only been conscious again for an hour. I don't know how long we've been in here, in this subterranean passage. They knocked us out immediately.
These chains on our wrists.
Yes, thin but strong. But I've been working at this weak spot here in mine. I might still be able to break this link before they return. The moon men.
We're in a passage somewhere under the moon's surface.
Wait, listen. Their voices. They're coming for us. Look.
Steady, Bedford. We're helpless. Don't put up a struggle. That one, he must be the leader. He's motioning with his spear to go that way. Follow their orders, Bedford, or...
Right, Cavour. But I think they mean to harm us.
We have to play for time. Come on, let's move. You won't bounce here. The gravity in this passage is strong like that back on Earth. I'll show him we're obeying. We obey you. We will walk ahead of you and your men. He doesn't understand, but our actions are enough to keep him from harming us.
Listen, as we walk, do you hear a noise like machines getting closer?
Yes, Bedford. That does sound like machinery. And it's getting closer fast. Look,
in that huge gate-like opening. An enormous cave. It is machinery.
Keep walking, Bedford. I think I understand that machinery. I've wondered why it's so well lit in these passages, these caves. The power from those machines there somehow manufacture the strange light in these subterranean depths. We must be approaching the place where the Moon Men live.
Cavour, there. That other cavern. Look, it's a slaughterhouse. Those men are butchering the moon cattle.
The cattle must be the staple item of their food. It is like... Oh,
There, stop that. Stop pricking him with your spear. Quick, Cavour! I've broken my chain. That way, run. They mean to slaughter us, too. That way, I'm behind you.
quick! Behind this carcass here. The bulk of this dead bull will hide us. We must get away from here before they find us. It won't be long. They're right over there, searching through these dead cattle, one by one.
Cavour, up that passage. There. Is that real light?
Bedford, in that crack, it does seem to be daylight.
Get close to me. You're still helpless with that chain. Crouch low and crawl fast. Up toward that light.
Right.
Almost there. In a few seconds, we'll be out of it.
Bedford, they've spotted us. Run! They're throwing their spears. I'm behind you.
Surface. We're out of the passages. But look, Cavour. The sun is getting low.
Yes. Which means we must find the spears soon. Or we'll freeze to death. For the position of the sun, I would say the spear is over that way.
Come on, they're right behind. They'll get us soon.
Right. But we must plan first, Bedford. If either of us gets to the sphere, the other does not arrive by the setting of the sun. The one who is there must sail the sphere back to Earth alone. If the other does not arrive, it will mean that the Moon Men have caught him, or that he is frozen to death in the horrible cold of a lunar night. Agreed?
Cavour.
No buts. There is no choice. Agreed?
Agreed.
Right. Now let's get going. There's the sound of them. They picked up our trail.
Cavour, where are you? I found the spear. Here! Cavour! Cold. Cats are dying all around. Cavour! Cavour, here! Sun was the last ray. Cavour! It's freezing. Cavour! Cavour! Use. It's awful. Cold. Cavour! No use. I must get inside. They must have got him. Better. Cold in here, but I'll shove on the heat. Listen, that wind coming up out there. Oh, Cavour, you must be gone. That wind is rising. The sphere is shaking in the wind. I might be blown right off the face of the moon. Oh, Cavour, if I can help you. But you must be gone. Dead. I must take off or the spear might be damaged in the storm. Which shutter? Compass? Huh? Here. Should be the fourth. Switch. On. Oh, the spear's rising. Oh, God help you back there, Cavour. And that pretty much is the story of our flight to the moon.
You've never again attempted to fly the sphere into space?
No, you see, Professor. The sphere is intact, but the return journey almost exhausted the supply of the gas. The Cavourite. Cavour did not leave behind a full formula for its manufacture. Has Cavour sent any message about the formula of Cavourite?
So, Mr. Bedford, he's mentioned the gas, of course, but he's obviously been reluctant to pass on the formula itself. If the Selenites do pick up his message, they just might...
Selenites?
Yes, that's the name Cavour applies to the moon men. Selenites. Those men that you saw that captured you in Cavour. The herders, butchers. They are described by Cavour as a very primitive tribe of Selenites. Nothing more than slaves of a much more intelligent creature who lives deep, deep in the very bowels of the moon.
How deep?
Perhaps 200 miles below the surface of the moon, there is a great sea, an ocean, and around its shores are great cities. The Selenites are an ancient people. Well, actually not people. Cavour's messages have stressed that they are more members of an insect than an animal strain. The ancestors of the Selenites once inhabited the surface of the moon, but perhaps 1,000,000 years ago, a cataclysmic solar storm occurred. The Selenites took refuge in the caves and finally the interior of the moon itself, and there they adapted to life beneath the surface. But there is trouble inside the moon too.
Inside? The air?
Not that. The Selenites have almost exhausted the resources of the moon's interior. They mean to try to colonize the Earth.
Colonize the Earth?
Yes. Now you see why the government will not recognize my work. I do sound mad, don't I? Bedford, the Selenites possess a very, very advanced technology, according to Cavour. Within years, they hope to fly themselves to Earth.
Professor, their technology must be very far advanced. Those machines I saw near the caves of the Moon Butchers.
Yes, but according to Cavour's messages, those machines are child's playthings compared to others deeper in the moon. Frankly, Bedford, the latest messages reveal that Cavour is in danger. As advanced as the Selenites are, they have not yet found a fuel, a gas like carburant, to power a ship from the moon to the Earth. That's why they have kept Cavour a prisoner. They have given him a laboratory in which to redevelop carburant. But he's delayed for more time. He's told them that he is hampered in his work by the differences in the composition of certain minerals on the moon from those found on Earth. He must have developed his wireless from equipment which they provided to him for his laboratory.
Is the danger to him immediate?
Well, that's what I told you this much. I might as well tell you everything at once. For these last 3 years, he has not been in immediate danger. The Selenites have wanted the formula for Cavorite too much to even torture him. But they got onto his messages from the moon a few weeks ago. That was when the interruptions, the jamming started.
Do they understand him?
Maybe. He has learned Selenite. They have learned English. Perhaps they have broken his code and have been waiting for him to transmit the formula in one of his messages.
But what, Professor?
Well, early in his stay with the Selenites, Cavour had no suspicions of them. Their advanced science fascinated him. He thought only of the good which could come from contact between the Selenites and the people of the Earth. It was only later that he discovered they meant to conquer the Earth, destroy all who live here, and colonize our planet.
Destroy?
Yes, and Cavour is worried that if they get the Cavorite, well, you see, the Selenites are so much advanced over us. Cavour describes weapons of theirs which could wipe out all the armies of the Earth within hours. And the Selenites do not have any sort of emotions. They would not hesitate at anything. Their moon is dying on them.
Do they know we, here on Earth, are not as advanced as they?
Yes, but unfortunately, Cavour revealed that in those early days he spent up there, when he still trusted them. He told them how puny even the most modern of our cannons and battleships would be against them. Only the other night he commented that he was a fool to have told them so much.
The danger to him. You say he hasn't mentioned it as immediate.
No, not exactly. He doesn't take the time. But I think something could happen to him at any time. If the Selenites suspect that Kavor's messages are getting through. If they have broken his code, they might kill him at once. After all, they must feel, as monsters they are, that they will find Cavorite or something like it soon. Better Kavor dead with no knowledge on Earth that there are Selenites, potential destroyers of the Earth out there. Say, move on. Bedford, the scanner. Kavor is sending again. Quick! Can you transfer? Yes. No time for notes on this one. He is in trouble. Quiet. I translate as it comes in. I was a fool for telling them so much. They must silence me. They fear I am reaching the Earth. I think they will come for me tonight. They have not broken my code. The formula for Cavorite must not be lost. If anyone on Earth is receiving my message, be careful in taking this. The formula for Cavorite is take 1 part helium, no use. They are here. They're beating down the door. I was a fool to tell them so much. Useless.
Professor, did they...
They just sleep here.
Oh,
There. On the moon.
what can we...
Nothing. They probably killed him. We are helpless. If we had only found each other before this, we might have found something, done something. Father lost to science, to the world. He was such a brilliant man.
Yes, and a brave one, too. At least they didn't get the formula for the Cavorite.
Oh, Mr. Glenn, it is a terrifying thing to think that they, the Selenites, are out there watching us, waiting, planning, and that we here on Earth are so far behind them. Well, Bedford, I think that brandy I suggested before is in order. And then I think we had better see about arranging for you to stay here with me. We must sort out these past messages for Kavor. Somehow we must publish them. Would make the world believe that they are true. The Earth one day will be in danger from the moon, and that we must be ready.
We'll try, Professor. I don't know that they'll believe. But just a moment, please. Out this window here. Look at it. The moon. And in it, perhaps Kavor just died. I wonder where it took place. One of the passages near the surface. Those insect Selenites grasping him in their tentacles. Kavor struggling desperately. Perhaps at last even fighting. And being pressed on now. Step by step. Forevermore into the unknown. Into the dark. Into a silence that has no end. Oh, Kavor.
That's it. That's it.